So how do you feel as an owner of a podcast studio, or like a studio, right? Because this wasn't in your vision at all.
Not at all. It wasn't in my 3-year plan. How do I feel about having the podcast studio? Not only one, but two now. It feels really good because, so one of the things about me is that I enjoy creating things for people. And so to know that there are so many people who are trying to jump into podcasting, or that are in podcasting, or that are in business and trying to transition into telling their branding story. And it's very rewarding seeing the end result. Like once they actually are posting their videos, or they're sending, or we have the raw footage to do the clips, and I'm reviewing the clips. And it's like, they created that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna just start like this. Something has shifted. 2 studios, 1 vision. The last time we recorded, we were in a whole different space. And this is just my introduction to welcoming everyone back to the L3 Perspective. Taking the conversation, taking the visuals, the environment to a whole nother level.
Yep.
And this is our first recording in the new space, in one of the 2 new spaces. So
13.
Yes. So it's been a minute. The last recording folks seen, we were in the old space, and now we're here, man. And I really just want to have a light conversation around a little bit of the transition and like what we're about to do.
Yeah.
Here in a whole nother city. So
I mean, it like happened fast, but it didn't happen fast. Mm-hmm. I think we talked about it for like, once we found out that this might be a possibility, we're like, oh, like what does this look like, and how does it turn into? In which it was interesting how when you talk to the universe, it talks back. Because I think we had already talked about what does like a potential move look like, or what does, if we went to, like, what were we looking for in another space, what would have to make sense, and all of a sudden this opportunity gets presented to us, right? Mm-hmm. And obviously there was work that had to get done, but it flowed very smoothly.
That it did.
With all things considered. And that's something that I think you won't come by too often when it comes to business, let alone having an actual space. And it allows us to operate in a whole different way.
Yeah, it really did. I remember when we came in here and we started painting, and like my mind was just at ease. Yeah. Right. I remember, when we were doing the first walkthrough, I was like, is this the right move? Right. I remember kind of going through that, and but that was only because I was used to what our 2025 vision was. Yeah. Right. And but as just sitting here painting was just like, yo, this is ours, and we get to create in a whole different creative way, right? In business and opportunities, providing opportunities for individuals and their businesses and their podcast clients, and man, this is By the way, the backgrounds are modular. Shout out to Cam for putting the magnets up and everything. So real quick, let's pause there. Let's park there. And just as one studio, talk a little bit about what the initial vision was, how it came about, and then what the backdrop is. So
I was talking to Philip from Action House, and we went to go be with him. And he was telling me about another studio that was like a content studio, but they didn't have cameras. So that's the thing, is like, I feel like there's a lot of these spaces that you're able to use, but they don't have any equipment. Mm-hmm. And that's, I think, one of the biggest things that's like setting us apart is like, this is a one-stop shop, right? Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that he said was it was modular. This other studio, like, because you can do like cooking podcasts there and stuff like that, right? And so you could like add different utensils that were magnetic and yada yada. And I was like, well, if you can do it that way, why can't you just do it with the whole wall? Yeah. And so I spoke to my Claude and was like, hey, how can we do this, right? And so ultimately the vision came of like, hey, here's the dimensions of what the wall is. Here's the dimensions of the materials. Like, what's going to be the most universal way to do this? And there were some learnings along the way. Well, you know, people ask, they're like, oh, where can I buy those? And I'm like, you can't. Like, I engineered this like with my Claude, you know. And so with anything that's brand new, there are different versions. And so I would say we stuck with version 1 with some modifications along the way that made more sense. But, you know, the goal is like you can mix and match what you want. You know, this entire black background we can make it white. Same kind of 3D design. We have brick that like we had in the previous studio, you know, so like trying to reuse as much materials as possible too, just not only from a waste standpoint, but cost effective. And then have like the acoustic panel that everybody loves. Like, but at the end of the day, like making it so that you can mix and match was like the main goal. So like, for instance, with the previous client, we made this all black, but before that, like the sides were white.
Right.
And then the background was black. So like doing that, or, you know, having a strip of white across the top or the bottom or through the middle of it, right? Like, or, you know, half is acoustic panel, the bottom half, the upper half is black.
Right.
You know, you just have this like customization that based off my research, there's nowhere else in the United States. Straight up. No, I mean, based off Claude, you know, who scanned all the stuff, but like no other studio in the United States is customizable and modular. And that's like in essence of what we're always trying to do is like innovate something, right? And so, I mean, that's kind of the background and the motivation for it and how like people can utilize it.
Yeah. So I took two words away from what you just said, trust and innovation.
Trust and innovation.
Right. And so the reason why I mentioned trust is because I remember you sharing this idea on paper or on Claude about like, hey, you know, it could be modular, it could be this, that, and the third. And obviously I know what modular is, and I knew the bits and pieces of what you were saying, but I didn't see it.
I think everyone kind of understood the concept, but like they were like, what the hell?
Yeah. But this is why, one of the reasons why I feel trust is important in a business or with business partners is because you don't always have to see the end result.
Yeah.
In order for the end result to be seen, if that makes sense, in the sense of like for it to be executed. Right. And I remember, again, hearing about it 15 different times. And I was like, yeah, I don't see it. And it wasn't until we put that first panel, magnetized panel up. And I was like, got it. But even looking at the design right now, like it looks completely different from that. And just hearing feedback from the clients and some of the business associates just coming in like, yo, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So the point I'm making with the trust thing is that it's extremely important to find people that you can do business with and trust them. The second piece of the innovation, I say because going back to us painting, to magnetizing the walls, to hanging pictures on the walls and setting up the cameras and all that, one of the things that I'm grateful for in this business is that we're constantly pushing the bar with innovation.
Yeah.
Right. How can we, I mean, like you said, based off of research that you've done, there's not another studio that has a magnetized wall.
Yeah. Well, most studios are trying to get up and then just like run everybody through it, right?
Yeah.
Which is why you don't find a lot of people who enjoy working with the studio consistently.
Yeah.
Because what happens is things become redundant. And so that was a piece of it too, is we took that feedback from our clients, because even though we had a good amount of options at the last place, we didn't do a good job of really showing them what those possibilities could be.
Right.
And so part of like we talked about with our podcast is like the set's going to change every week, you know, and the goal of that is to also then show you guys what it can be.
Yeah.
You know, so next week it might be at the round table in the other room with bookcases. It might be the white background. It might be the brick background. Like, but the goal is to really show like the range of what we've built for people.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's important for people to be able to find that space. And luckily for them, there's a one-stop shop but for folks to find that space where they can be so creative.
Yeah.
Right. When you talk about, we were talking to someone earlier and they were talking about just the importance of storytelling, right?
Yeah.
And it's like there are a lot of people who have powerful stories, but they don't have the space to do it in.
Yeah.
And so why not only create that space for them, why not create that experience for them?
Yeah.
And that was probably like in this business, like that was probably something that I've am grabbing onto of like creating that experience for clients so that they can tell their stories.
Yeah. So how do you feel as an owner of a podcast studio, or like a studio, right? Because this wasn't in your vision at all.
Not at all. It was not
it wasn't in my vision.
It wasn't in my 3-year plan. How do I feel about having the podcast studio? Not only one, but two now. It feels really good because, so one of the things about me is that I enjoy creating things for people. And so to know that there are so many people who are trying to jump into podcasting, or that are in podcasting, or that are in business and trying to transition into telling their branding story. It feels great to know that we have a place where we can open up the doors at any time for folks to come in and do their thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's very rewarding seeing the end result. Like once they actually are posting their videos, or they're sending us or we have the raw footage to do the clips, and I'm reviewing the clips, and it's like they created that. You know what I'm saying? Whether they're in the real estate industry, whether medical industry, whatever the industry it is like we have an eclectic group of clients that can come into a space, whether it's the same background or not, and their story be told.
Yeah. That's been really cool to watch. But then also take like our standard of how we operate and then like put it into an industry that in retrospect doesn't normally have that standard. I mean, I think, one of the things that we've seen so much is like people saying like, oh, things are efficient, or things make sense, or communication is great, or people most enjoy that they can come here and then leave and it's just taken care of.
Yeah.
Like that, look, our client showed up a couple minutes late.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah. But she got her recording done. We took a picture and then she left. Yeah. She's like, thanks, man. Off to the next thing. And, 'cause she's running, right? But like, there's no like, oh, hey, you got to do this or you got to do that. Or like, there's no lingering work that they have to do. They get to just come here. They don't have to worry about anything. And then go on about their day. Yeah.
So a couple weeks ago, we had an open house. By the way, shout out to Terry for bringing that idea to the table. That was after doing the Elevation Experience event. Actually, he brought that idea like as we were planning that. And I remember when he brought the idea, I was like, man, that's too close to to the event. But I'm glad that we executed because it came out almost above and beyond what I seen, and it was nice to have someone on the team to execute on an event, and the output was the same level of excellence that if we were planning it, right, or you and I were planning it. And so anyway, the open house it was
better than if you and I were planning it.
Well, that's true. I'm sorry. Let me just say me. But yeah, we had some folks come through, some new faces. Came through. Some who recently had reached out to you on Instagram, just days before, new to the area. And, when you seen people kind of like connecting with each other, like what was that feeling like, seeing them in the new space that we just finished painting 2-3 days prior?
Right. It was cool, man. I mean, like, I remember, Zen was like, are you going to be able to be ready? And I was like, you must not know how we get down. And so that was cool, so that but also just like we did things really fast. I mean, we went from throwing an event at the last space to packing most of the studio up that day to finishing it a couple of days later with the U-Haul stuff, right? And getting everything into this space, organizing most of it, getting the walls painted, things up on the walls, to then like executing on two studio spaces at the same time while entertaining. Right. Like like we did that.
Yeah.
And it was dope. And it was hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it got done. And so like watching people be able to enjoy like that work that we put in was really cool.
Yeah. I agree, man. And when you said that, I was like, oh, there's a book called Do Hard Things. But anyway, part of us being able to get that done, like, yes, we're efficient. Yes, we're intelligent. Yes, we're innovative and we have creative ideas and can execute. But I think a bigger part of that was because we have a pretty dope team.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that, acknowledging that as well, being able to do all these moving things on this side, being able to still communicate with the team so that things on the back end still get done and we're not missing deadlines with our clients. Yeah. We're not missing deadlines with our particular projects, but then also getting better at that. You know what I'm saying? Like us looking at, okay, cool. Yeah, that was cool, but we could have been better. Yeah. We could have been more efficient at that. Well, we got to work on we could have strengthened our communication in this particular area. And so, that was, and even in this season, I feel like our business is being tested. Yeah. With how well do we actually communicate, right? How well are our processes? But all that to say, our team is getting stronger, getting better, getting faster, more efficient. And I'm just, again, want to extend every Monday I do this. I extend my gratitude to them on our team meetings. But again, just extending that gratitude to the team because, yeah, we could run, but, we get stuff done.
For sure.
When we run as a pack. So
rest of 2026.
Yeah.
Because I think we talk. Well, not I think. I keep saying I think. I need to stop doing that. You don't need to edit that out either. We talked about doing a series, for the next few episodes for a little while. We'll have some, obviously, sprinkle in some guests here and there, but I think we both agree it's important for people to hear from us as we build this.
Yes.
Especially in this kind of space, right? A place for us to digest and debrief and provide information. And so, we are we're 2/3 of the way done with the second quarter. What does the next 2 quarters look like? I mean, and not from execute, kill it, whatever. Yeah. Like what are we like really trying to do?
Yeah. I will say one, and this goes back to a meeting that we had earlier with Terry. That's all centered around visibility. Yeah. Like, so the short answer to the question would be to really dial in on visibility, what that means for us. Yeah. And what does that mean for our business and what does it mean for our clients?
Correct.
Because we have, not only because we have like dope stuff, but because it's needed in our business, right? And so I would say it's all around that one word, visibility.
Yeah. Okay. I like that.
I mean, I can go on and on, but yeah. Sure.
No, I think visibility is good because we've built something really special here, and we need to tell. Like mine would be probably tell the story more. Mm-hmm. Especially like, I talk about a lot of one of the reasons I haven't told more of the story is obviously because I'm still like on the verge of retiring, and like I have to be careful. Yeah. Now I'm about to be done, so it's like, okay, now I can tell more of this story, right? And so it's important because even the people who have been able to see the story have told me how important it is for them to see it. And so, and I think that we owe that to people with the things that we're doing.
Yeah, I agree. I like that. Yeah, we definitely have to tell the story more. I feel like maybe a year ago we talked about that, but this I feel like it means more now.
Yeah.
It definitely means more now.
Well, I mean, this is location too.
Yeah.
It's got to mean more now.
Yeah.
This is no longer a concept.
Right.
Mm-hmm. This is a model.
Yeah. So speaking of model, we went from recording behind a black screen that just had my white teeth on there, sitting at your kitchen table, recording the pilot to transition to your living room in the corner with the nice background and net set up, and then we went to a community space, and then went to the innovation center, and
Yeah.
then now going from that, all in less than 3 years,
Yeah.
to now having 2 studios,
Yeah.
it being ours, and it's like I still feel that we're not even scratching the surface on the possibility of what we could do.
Yeah.
Not even just with our company, even just with the podcast.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think, as we dive deeper into 2026, people will see more, some very interesting guests on, and I look forward to them telling their stories and even giving them visibility, because there's some guests that we already in talks about having on that are amazing, powerful, and successful, and super successful in their industries.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, don't have the visibility.
Yeah.
Right. Some may prefer just to be behind the scenes, but
Right.
I'm looking forward to really getting folks or hearing their stories.
Yeah. What would you say? Did you ever land on your word for the year?
I did. And you know why? So I have there's a couple of them, but mastery was floating around, but it didn't feel like that was it.
Yeah.
Right. I think I was like, oh yeah, that's gonna be my word for 2026, mastery. Right. So in 2025, excellence was my word. And so I decided to just break it down in kind of quarters. And interestingly, so quarter one was mastery. But I feel like it was so much going on that wasn't it.
Yeah.
It wasn't it. So
Yeah.
so anyway, short answer to your question is no.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know you've been doing the I know that's like a popular thing. Like, what's your word for the year? I don't know. I feel like I always just go to like execute.
Yeah. No,
that's like my life word.
Yeah. So here's how that came about, just real quick. Maybe 5-6 years ago, I was having a conversation with my mother-in-law, and she mentioned something about like a word a year. I think she was doing something. I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. Like, and then when I started like really thinking about that, I was like, man, like you're framing your whole year around that one word. So your decisions should be aligned with that. Like I started doing like a deeper dive, and I was like, let me try this out. And I think it was like 2019-ish, when I was still active duty military. I tried it out, and I wasn't consistent that year. It was probably like 5 months out of the year that I was like, oh yeah, this is my word, and kept going back to it. But like, it really wasn't until the other year when it was excellence that I felt that it really kept moving the bar forward consistently. So anyway, going back to what you were saying, execute. I feel like that's what I've been pressured to work on over in 2026 specifically.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, and that's all just personal growth stuff.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, because you one of the things that I've always appreciated about you in business is that you're an executor. Was there something pivotal in your life or in your career that forced you to kind of fall into that, or have you always been an executor?
I've always been an executor in essence. I think a lot of that comes from like just trying to prove people wrong. By all means of the sense, like I should statistically have not done as well as I've done. I'm an only child to a single mom. I moved around a fuck ton growing up. I went to all these different schools, did not do great in school, but was smart. Like, I was just bored, was told by countless people, like, it's going to be really interesting when you get older. Like, people thought I was just going to be a bum, or I was going to fail, or I was going to get killed, or I was going to get on drugs, or whatever have you. And so, like, so that's a big piece of it, I think, is like, it's just like the haters. Yeah. Like, I'll show you what's up. Yeah. And also just like, I don't want to be the reason things don't get done. you know, don't get me wrong. I don't like. I drop the ball sometimes, and everyone drops the ball. No one's a batting 1,000%. I told Ned I was gonna do this Excel spreadsheet for my Claude, and I did it like 5 days after I said I was gonna do it. Because like we have a lot going on, right. So unfortunately that wasn't a priority.
Yeah.
And she, I didn't get like she's like I just did it real quick last night. And it took me 4 minutes, which is funny because a lot of times it's like the things that you put off don't take that long. But, in essence, it's just like we talk about the companies, I don't want people waiting on us.
Yeah.
And part of that comes from, I don't like waiting on people. And so, and that's just because I think a lot of times I had to wait on other people and that in retrospect probably like put trauma on me. And, there's all this stuff that, you talk about. And I hate those words, but in essence, what happened to you growing up is why it has shaped who you are as an adult, right? And it doesn't mean that that's the story. I think too many people get locked into that, like, this happened to me as a child, so like I can never be this or never do that, or they get in this like reciprocating cycle of like bullshit. So I've always for the most part been able to make it happen. And that is that's also in a sense, I'm just stubborn as hell. That's a piece of it too.
Gotcha.
When someone tells me shit can't be done, I'm gonna try and get it done.
Yeah.
Or if someone doubts me, which happens quite often, honestly, I believe, even with all the things that we've done, that's just fuel for the tank. Like, and that's something I talked about at the elevation experience, right? Is like I came to win.
Yeah.
That's win at life,
win
as a husband, win as a father, win as a businessman, win as a friend, like, and winning looks different to everybody, but like I play for keeps.
Yeah.
That's what I do. And I think, and unfortunately I think we've gotten to a place where like that's looked down upon. And that's stupid as hell because if there's any time that you got to play for keeps right now is it, bro.
Right.
The way the world, the economy, all these things are, like, there ain't no fucking time for niceties. But what I would, last thing I'd say about that though is I always do it from a lens of like love.
Yeah.
Like I may want to win, but I don't do grimy shit to win.
Yeah. No, for sure.
I do things. I help where people need to be helped. I question where things need to be questioned. And I 9 times out of 10 take on the blunt responsibility of asking the uncomfortable question.
That's good. Thanks for that therapy session. No, I'm just kidding. No, that's good.
So let me ask you this. Like, you've worked with a lot of people. Why do you think we've been so successful as a team?
One, I think we just get each other. Like, one, we just get each other. Two, I think part of that is the trust factor. Like, just like I was saying in the beginning, like, it's I found that in my business ventures of the trust is also with the transparency, right? Like there's never like in business there's been times where I have not been 100% me, right? Like or even just the character of who I was, right? Like externally it was like, oh, he's a good dude, and in my heart I was, but like I was still messed up. I was still broken.
Yeah.
And I think that we connected in a season of my life where I was transitioning of all of that, like to really not just on paper say I want to be the next best version of myself, but just really working at that and figuring out what does that look like, right? After decades and decades and decades of experience and generational trauma, curses, all that type stuff. So I think that the trust, the transparency, us getting each other, I feel that we're not afraid to have those uncomfortable conversations, right? Because we know that it's coming from a very genuine place. And like, listen, we shook hands because we wanted to see each other win. Like not even being, I think both of us are very, like we're not selfish.
Yeah.
right? Like we didn't shake hands like, oh man, I wonder what's in it for me. And because of that, being in partnership with someone else that equally shares that love, I could rock with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? One of the assessment questions that, as I was taking the assessment, one of the assessment questions, I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember my response being like, I see, I see like partnering in a sense of like investments, you know what I mean, with you.
Yeah.
And so it goes beyond just us running a current business together.
For
you
sure.
know what I mean? So those are a few reasons
Yeah.
why I think it works.
Yeah.
How about you? I was interested in your response.
Yeah. I mean, I never worked with anybody really before I worked with you. Not in that like sense. Like,
Yeah.
like really like locking arms, right? And so I really only have our experience to kind of go on,
Gotcha.
And so, but I did it because like, I think like I talk about is like, if our values are aligned, like that's 9 times, that's the hardest piece. I feel like you can partner with people, but like, and they could be really good at what they do, but like, if you can't trust them, that just makes things really hard. And I don't think I've never felt that I can't trust you. And that's a big thing for me. Like we talked about today is, we always have to navigate the different mindsets or the different skills or the different motivations or what brings you energy, what doesn't. That's fine. But like, I can't make you a good person.
Right. Yeah.
And that's such an inherent part of what matters to me. Like, because I've been around so many people who are not inherently good or who have the wrong motivations or who honestly just aren't capable of being honest with themselves.
Yeah. Man, I in your question like really lands deep with me too, because like I'm like, out of my over a decade of being in business, like I messed up a lot in business. You know what I mean? Some my fault, but just some just like the selection.
And that's business.
That's business.
That's
what
people don't understand. It's like
Yeah.
that. You if you knock it out the park your first time, you are an absolute
For sure.
second, third anomaly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I learned so much like navigating through that. And the one thing that I told myself, that I committed to myself regarding our business relationship, is that Cam will never have to worry about me lying to him.
For sure.
He won't have to worry about me bending the truth, right? And I was just like, I owe that to any man, but especially someone that I call my friend, right? Yeah. And like I said, there's been times where I've taken inventory of like, man, like in this season where you thought the business is thriving, not our business, but like some of these business ventures where you were thriving, like what are the lessons so that you don't repeat those mistakes? What are the that's essentially what are the lessons that you can learn so you don't repeat those mistakes, because you have such of a strong commitment to what you guys are doing, and you really want to see it. Like before with other business ventures, it's like, okay, I could see 10, 20 years from now doing this thing, the company being big, but like for whatever reason, out of everything I've ever had my hands involved in, this is just feels different.
Yeah.
And I'm in it.
There you go.
So, but yeah, the L3 Media Studio Space, Studio One. And what I like about the space is that there's room to have this look completely different and still be in the same room.
Correct.
Right? There's probably 4, 5, 6 different ways that we could set up this area, and this Studio A is just a smaller studio.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
no, this is gonna be an exciting transition.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. Well, as we always say, like, share, subscribe.
Yes.
And we'll see you guys later.
Let's go. Get ready to hear our story.